welcome to the World of Wrestling podcast. Here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite May 28th, 2025 review. I thought the show was kind of decent. There were some things that kind of fell off the rails. The opener of the show was fantastic. The closing of the show was good. There was a few matches on this card that I thought was decent as well. But overall, it just kind of felt bland. Didn't feel bad. It didn't feel insulting. Felt like they put a little bit of effort behind this episode of Dynamite falling from the fallout of Double or Nothing. But they just, I don't know, they just didn't hit it for me as well as they could have, I think, but they didn't do a bad job. I don't think they did terrible. I think they put some effort behind this episode. It didn't feel like just a bunch of random matches thrown together for the sake of having matches. I do question a little bit about the Fatal 4-Way International Championship match qualifying matches that are taking place as to why the hell this is even occurring, why Kenny Omega needs to defend the title in a Fatal 4-Way match for Fyter Fest next week, and they're kind of just rushing it. And the other four people that are trying to qualify for a spot into this match are Lucha Libre wrestlers. They're not even relevant AEW performers. So that's kind of fucking weird personally. Kyle Fletcher and Adam Cole had a championship match for the TNT title. It was a good match until it ended with Josh Alexander interfering in the middle of the match. As to why they did that, I have no fucking clue. That made absolutely no damn sense. But I guess in a way they were trying to extend this match for a future follow-up for these two to go at it one-on-one at All In, which I think is the right way to go. I think at All In, Kyle Fletcher should become the new TNT champion because Adam Cole, unfortunately, creatively, has not been booked properly for this. They haven't put any effort at all into Adam Cole till this match came up. Why they haven't... They have so much great talent, and they just fail to put effort. It's not even the fact that they're poor, storytelling. It's just they don't even look like they're putting any kind of effort, and they have such a great roster. Same with WWE. Both promotions have great rosters, but they don't put enough effort into it. Look at Orange Cassidy. What the fuck has he been doing lately? Unless he's got an injury I'm not aware of. But I'll tell you what, I thought the show was not terrible by any means. I thought the show was fair, honestly, but there were some boring things that occurred during this event that kind of put me to sleep. And some of it I didn't particularly care for. So let's get into it. So Tony Schiavone gives Paige his due for winning the tournament at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view before handing the microphone over to Hangman Page. You deserve a chance, break out from the crowd. Page says that triumph in life is fleeting. He talks about the past 2, or if he's being honest, 3 years of his life. He's lost sight of that. It's not about the win or the loss. It's about what you do with it. This past Sunday, 2 men got into the ring knowing that one of them would lose. So thank you. Thank you, Will Ospreay, for giving Page the fight of his life. While one of us would have to taste defeat, one of us would have to taste victory. But the Hangman cannot relish it. He will not get to defend the championship around his waist, recognizing that next year there will be a new champion. So he returns this title to the people and to Tony Schiavone. He will always remember what it means to win the tournament, but he must now look forward to the AEW World Championship. It is the responsibility he has chased from the very moment he returned to the company, a title that has been hidden away in a briefcase. No kidding, and it needs to finally be let free from that fucking briefcase. The title is meant to be a shining light of what the letters AEW stand for. The spirit of competition. When he joined this company on the first day, he said that people would be his boss. The people would be his boss, so he makes a promise in 7 weeks he will become the new AEW World Champion at All In Texas. Swerve Strickland's music hits, and he and Prince Nana make their way down to the ring with a microphone in Swerve's hand. He gives some kudos, but also has something to address, bringing up on the screen the promo the Young Bucks made about costing Swerve the world title back in Dynasty in order to help Hangman out. Strickland talks about losing the same opportunity Page has at All In Texas, saying he conveniently has a clear path to the title off of his loss. He calls collusion on that, reminding Page of the promise he made to Swerve that he wouldn't get involved before telling Page to look him in the eye right now and tell him if he did this. Page addresses what happened, saying he looked at Swerve and then at Mox, and for a moment he even thought about helping Strickland, but assures Swerve that if he wanted to cost him the title, he would have done it himself, because he's done it before. This leads to a more silent war of words between them as Will Ospreay makes his way out to a big pop. Ospreay looks at Page and then at Swerve, telling the latter he looks up to him like a big brother and hates to get involved in his business, but he's wrong about Hangman Page. Ospreay talks about Page showing his respect at Double or Nothing. He looked into Hangman's eyes and saw that Adam cares about this place, the same feeling he got when he looked into Swerve's eyes when he beat him last year. Look around, people are starting to believe in us again. He tells Swerve that it is not him, it's not Ospreay, but it's Page. He tries to talk about the three of them working together to get the title back, and this riles up Strickland as he tells Ospreay he's crazy if he thinks Swerve will ever work with Page again. Swerve leaves the ring as Page confronts Ospreay, saying he will do this without taking Strickland's help, leaving the ring as Ospreay thinks about what just went down. And Hangman Page says, I will never work with Swerve Strickland. Now, my take on this is that there's a very strong chance that Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page will come to grips. They will come to a conclusion that these two men can work together. They may not give us that impression at all leading into All In, and Swerve just decides to get into the match and help him defeat Jon Moxley. That would also mean that, hey, you know what? I helped you win that damn title. I gave you the odds to make it evened out. I don't know why Swerve Strickland thinks that Hangman Page has a clear path to the title when clearly he's going to need some fucking help for this match, because honestly, there's going to be outside interference from Jon Moxley's group. So I don't understand how he thinks he has a clear path, but he sure as hell doesn't. He's going to need some help. There's no way in hell anyone's going to ever beat Jon Moxley clean unless there's a ruling put in that nobody can interfere in the match, or otherwise Jon Moxley will be stripped of the championship and the title will be vacated or given to the person he's being challenged by. That is the options that they would have. they have two options. Make the stipulation where no outside interference can take place, which makes the odds of Hangman Page definitely well known to the audience that Hangman Page is winning this, which I think probably would be the best idea for them creatively to get people interested in seeing this pay-per-view. It might get ticket sales up. It might get people interested in seeing this matchup for this match alone. Because honestly, I think a lot of people are just fed up of Jon Moxley being the world champion in this set storyline. I think the storyline's absolutely terrible. It's one of the worst storylines I've ever seen Jon Moxley in outside of the Bane character he played in WWE back in 2019 into 2020. Or 2018 to 2020, something like that. Or 2018 to 2019. So, my attitude's real simple about all this. I think it's about time we do something that's going to get people interested. And that might be a good idea. It may be too damn predictable, honestly. I think they're better off sticking with just Hangman Page going into this in a regular matchup and whatnot, and going from there. But I personally think Hangman's winning this match. I don't think Hangman's losing it. This promo here really confirmed it for me. I'm leaning towards high probability Jon Moxley's losing the world title. I believe that Will Ospreay will be there. I think Swerve Strickland at the end of all this will be there as well. And I think his two opponents that Hangman Page will face will be Swerve Strickland first, and then Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door in London. And I think that is when we are going to see Will Ospreay get his championship opportunity. He's going to win, and then we're going to see MJF get the world title from him as well. And he's going to have a run with it until Darby Allin beats MJF for the title. That's where I think this is going to go. I think that's a pathway of the World Championship. Just my thoughts. We get a video package. Anarchy in the Arena was shown for Double or Nothing. We cut outside the arena to see the Death Riders making their entrance, bringing us back to the to ringside as the group alongside Gabe Kidd make their way toward the ring itself. Out next is Willow Nightingale, followed quickly by Mike Bailey and Mark Briscoe before the trio head to the ring to get this match underway. This trio's tag team match, generic. Jon Moxley and his group end up winning this matchup. So it is what it is. I thought it was okay. I mean, but it wasn't anything spectacular. It just is what it is. Why they had these three other people. Willow Nightingale's definitely one of them, but Mark Briscoe and Mike Bailey makes no fucking sense as to why they're facing the Death Riders in any capacity, but whatever. Just a match thrown together and that's it. Jon Moxley ends up picking up the victory by submission, and they get the victory. The team celebrates the win in the ring among boos from the crowd. We get a video package. Hurt Syndicate are thrilled after retaining the tag team titles, and MJF made a successful debut as their newest member. He looks forward to getting back his AEW World title, but with the Hurt Syndicate, it's not personal, it's just business. We get a quick word from Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford before they team up against Anna Jay and Harley Cameron in a no DQ tag team match that comes up next. Backstage, we have Ricochet talking about getting the lay of the land in AEW after Double or Nothing. He sees all the factions here and says Ricochet needs a new crew of his own. Once he finds the perfect crew, he will show everyone why Ricochet is out of this world. Ha ha! Yeah, okay. Whatever. We had my opinion about Ricochet with this so-called group. My thoughts on that. I think that would be... I think he needs to be surrounded by young talent. I think that would be kind of cool. See, like, maybe Private Party with Ricochet. That would be a fucking fantastic idea. Private Party with Ricochet together as a team. And Ricochet could win, like, the International Championship or the TNT title after several wins and weeks, and maybe have a couple of grudge matches and trios tag team wrestling. Maybe have the trios tag team titles from the Ops, possibly. That's another idea they could go about doing if they want to. I think Private Party would be a perfect group to tie in with Ricochet. Another team that they could tie him with is the Crew with Lio Rush and Action Andretti. I think that would be a fun team to team him with. I think he just needs a tag team to be teamed with him in a faction, and maybe a manager on the side. I think that would do it pretty well for me, anyway. I think that would probably be the best way to go. I think Private Party probably would be the best option. They really need to get those. They would have every reason to be part of this thing with the. They may like turn, they're going to be heels if they're with Ricochet. And you could have them try to regain the World Tag Team titles back from the Hurt Syndicate. I mean, that is an option. I think that would be pretty fucking stoked idea to do. I just think that they need to find a way to be able to do that where it's going to make sense. That's where I think the problem with my idea runs into. Anyway, we got Anna Jay and Harley Cameron versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford in a no disqualification match. Tag team wrestling. This was actually a fun match. Harley Cameron actually got a very busted up nose. Her nose was broken after the match was over. They were trying to push it back into place, and she just did not want anyone touching her nose because it hurt her fucking badly. So she was not interested in having anyone touch it. But this was a good match. It wasn't fantastic. I mean, it wasn't like superb. But for a televised hardcore match between these four ladies, I think it was fairly decent. Megan Bayne finally gets a W on Dynamite, which I thought was smart of them to do. It's about fucking time they build her up. But this also is also a troubling sign, too. There was talks on JD from New York 206's channel about AEW introducing the women's tag team titles. God help us. This could be a sign of that. And I'm pretty sure it is. Not saying that these four women are not a tag team. They've been dealing with each other. Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford have been together for a while now. Not that it made any sense as to why they got together. But they've been together. They've been teaming together. They've been doing stuff together and whatnot. And getting things done and whatnot. So they have been involved with one another to make sense as to why they're a tag team. But personally, do I care to see women's tag team titles? Fuck no. Do they ever accomplish anything? Make the division better in the women's division? No. It's bullshit. It's all crap. Anyway, Megan Bayne hits the Doomsday device, which is basically an F5 on Cameron for the win, on top of the steel chair. The pair do a little more damage to Cameron before leaving the ring to celebrate. We get a graphic reminding us that Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm will meet face-to-face later on in the main event of tonight. They show Mercedes Moné walking backstage in the parking lot, getting ready to come into the arena. Back at ringside, the Ops make their way to the ring for a nice pop. They face the Frat House, which, God help me, I have no fucking idea who the hell these geeks are. But the Ops end up beating them in quick fashion, without a shadow of a doubt. And Will Hobbs looked like a fucking dominating motherfucker. The last spine buster maneuver, or double A spine buster, that Will Hobbs delivered was botched by the guy who was getting it. He didn't take it very well. And it looked very shitty to me, but it is what it is. They celebrate up the ramp as we go to a commercial break. They kind of touch on Hook, but they never really expand on that any further. They kind of, replay a video of him being upset while helping the Ops and the group from the Anarchy and the Arena match out, but nothing else came about from it. Back at ringside, we have Renee Paquette welcomes Jamie Hayter to the ring to address things after Double or Nothing. She's asked if she's had time to think about what happened on Sunday, but before she can answer, the lights go out before coming back on as Thekela, the poisonous spider lady, that's the talks from Stardom. She was fired from putting her hands on officials and her boss, so she was let go from the company because of that. She actually ends up attacking Jamie Hayter. Apparently, Jamie Hayter's going to be a jobber going into All In, or maybe there's going to be a situation where she's just a jobber on fucking Dynamite or Collision. Who the fuck knows, man? And they just cut away instantly. No fucking follow-up. No, you don't get her to get on the microphone and, do a promo for her debut. Just debut her by attacking Jamie Hayter. Wow. Mind-boggling. That's how you get your fucking talent over, by not having them cut a promo after doing something like that. Like, what the fuck? I thought maybe it was going to be Julia Hart possibly doing this, but that was not the case. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, we had Kyle Fletcher make his way out to ringside for our next match as we get a look at what happened at Double or Nothing, leading to Hiroshi Tanahashi appearing. As the challenger enters the ring, Adam Cole makes his way out with the TNT Championship. So we have Adam Cole defending the TNT title against Kyle Fletcher. Like I mentioned before, this match was good, but it just ended with a no finish by disqualification. Josh Alexander and Fletcher begin a beatdown on the champion until Brody King makes his way down with a chair for the save. He forces Alexander and Fletcher to the outside as we are reminded that King and Josh face off, and it seems that match will happen next as we go to a commercial break. This was actually the main event of the evening. Believe it or not, it was Brody King and Josh Alexander. And Brody King actually picks up the victory over Josh Alexander. I have to admit, Josh Alexander has been a complete flop in AEW. I honestly think this was the worst fucking idea they could have done. I think Josh Alexander and Brody King both needed this win. I think they both deserve to be in the International Championship, since it is a fatal four-way match, to face Kenny Omega for the title. And only one of them had the opportunity. while four Hispanic wrestlers who we don't even have a fucking clue are earning the spot into the match next week for Dynamite for Fyter Fest. I don't get this shit. Backstage, Kyle Fletcher expresses his frustration with the interference, leading to him losing his shot at the TNT Championship before the champ himself goes after the Proto Star. Security breaks it up as Cole tells Fletcher he's a dead man. Back at ringside, Mercedes Moné makes her way to the ring, showing off her collection of titles, including the one she earned by winning the 2025 Women's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament. We get a look at the Owen Hart Cup trophy as the CEO addresses El Paso, Texas. She talks about legends like Owen Hart and her inspiration, Eddie Guerrero, getting huge pops since they are in El Paso, Texas, and how they don't compare to the CEO. Moné is quickly cut off by the arrival of the Women's World Champion as timeless Toni Storm makes her way to the ring to a pop from the crowd. Storm has a mic in hand as she lays the title down on the mat, with Mercedes saying the fans are tired of the black and white and want a champion full of color. Holy fuck. I don't know if you could take that as a racial statement or actually referring to the from back in the old days, the 1950s colors screens that people got when they watched television. I'm going to go with the second comment. Toni says hello, saying she's been waiting a long time to meet Mercedes. She addresses Mercedes debuting on a show named after her, making history and staying undefeated. The two of them have never met or talked, saying Moné has claimed this is the match she wants most. So what took her so long? Mercedes says patience, darling, claiming she's the Beyonce of women's wrestling, so she has been waiting for a reason. I don't think it's a good idea to continue to keep calling yourself Beyonce of women's wrestling, because she's a bitch. Not to mention what tied in with a low-life people. So I don't know about all that. I wouldn't say that. Maybe somebody else, like Lady Gaga, some shit. I don't fucking know. Who the hell cares about pop music these days? Pop music is absolutely fucking trash. For low-life people who don't have a fucking brain in their head. Storm responds by saying she is the Toni Storm of professional wrestling. Moné then says that Storm has changed from the shy woman she met 10 years ago, but so has Mercedes. She's no longer the boss, referring to herself as Sasha Banks. She is the CEO. Moné talks about the greatest match of all time that awaits them both at All In Texas. Toni addresses their similar paths and how AEW allowed them to be who they really are, but notes the biggest difference between them. Moné wants all the titles, but Toni only needs one. So if Mercedes wants to ride the money train into the Toni tunnel, she had better hope she can go deep enough. Wow. If that wasn't sexual innuendo, I don't know what is. I was sitting there just going, what the fuck? Really? We're going sexual innuendo here? She then calls Mercedes one of the greatest of all time, but unfortunately for her, Toni Storm happens to be timeless. Moné says Toni may call herself timeless, but her time is about to be up. See you at All In. Storm expresses the same, and they drop their microphones before Mercedes extends a hand to the champion. Storm kisses her hand, also smells her neck as if she's wearing some sort of perfume that she's wearing, causing her to have an attraction towards the scent of her perfume or some shit. But the Owen Hart Cup winner pulls her in for a moneymaker, Storm counters it, looking for a Storm Zero before Monet rolls out of the ring to retreat up the ramp. Storm poses with the women's world title in the ring to poke at Mercedes, who runs her mouth off at the champ as Dynamite comes to a close, and that is your show in a nutshell. Again, I say the show wasn't terrible. It kind of boring, but it wasn't a terrible show. It was a good show. It did what it had to do. It touched on two of the most important matches for All In. They're the thing that's going to sell this pay-per-view to people. And now they got to figure out what other matches are we going to touch on to make some importance for this pay-per-view, for people who want to tune in, to pay $49.99, and then also to go ahead and go to the fucking show to begin with. Good luck to them on that. They're going to need it. Because outside of the two World Championship matches from the men and the women, they got nothing. I do see a potential matchup between Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay at All In. I would be okay with that. We could also see them team together and go up against the Young Bucks in a tag team match. That's another possibility. I still say that could happen. Because maybe the Young Bucks do something to Will Ospreay at the end of before All In. Maybe. I'm not sure. But one of those two situations are going to occur. We're either going to get Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland in a one-on-one match, or they're going to team together against the Young Bucks. That's what I see going on there. Tag team titles, I see FTR challenging for the tag team titles. And winning the tag team titles from the Hurt Syndicate. I think they're going to get screwed by MJF. I think MJF is going to interfere in this match, cause them to lose the titles, and join with FTR, creating the Pinnacle back up again. I think that's where they're going with that. Trying to think of what else they're going to possibly build here. TNT Championship, Kyle Fletcher and Adam Cole, definite match that needs to take place. This needs a defiant win for Kyle Fletcher. I'm glad they didn't have it on Dynamite. That would have been absolute trash. He needs a win on All In with the title on the line. I think that would be a great idea. Kenny Omega and Okada is probably going to occur. These two are going to have some sort of build. We got 7 weeks worth of time to build a match between these two. It's not that fucking difficult. We could see that happen next week on Dynamite and see that occur more than likely. So, I mean, honestly, I don't think that there's going to be any issues doing that. So that's going to be another banger of a match. Hopefully it turns out to be that way and it's not like an AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura in the WWE type of style match where we get lazy work rate in the ring with these two guys. I mean, I don't know. But, I mean, there's a good list of matches I just pointed out that they could book and build on and actually create importance of each of these matches. Which I think I listed off about almost 7 matches that could be booked with a storyline in it. Which, honestly, if you look at these cards in the last couple of years, all you've gotten is a couple of matches, and the rest of the matches you could have booked for fucking Dynamite or Collision. So, this show deserves to have every match have some sort of importance leading up to this pay-per-view. Or otherwise, it does not belong on the show. We need to see build for each one of the matches that you're going to book for this card. And if you're going to do that, give it some story. Give it some sort of importance. Give it some build. You got plenty of time to do that. You want to book 9 matches? Give every match that's on the card for those 9 matches some sort of importance. Give them a storyline, or otherwise do not have them on the fucking show. This past Sunday's pay-per-view had 3 matches that did not need to be there. They did not have any major story. Truthfully, they didn't have any fucking story at all. And one of them that did have a story, I didn't even give a flying fuck about, and that's the FTR match against Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. Because it all was on Collision. Nobody fucking watches Collision. We need to see all storylines built here on Dynamite. Every fucking week, we need to see some sort of element elevating and hyping up each and every match. If we can't get that from this company, then please, save us the bullshit. The feeling. The feeling of what? The feeling of blowing it out your ass? That's what Tony Khan has been doing for the last couple of years since he's lost CM Punk. He needs to turn this fucking ship around. He needs to stop treating these guys that supported CM Punk because they had good interactions with him and being a sourpuss, and just fucking book these shows correctly. Get off your ass and get this damn company back on track the way it used to be. I am trying to be their biggest fan. I am trying to be, critiquing what they're doing and not give up on them. Because that would be the easy fucking thing to do. Is just flat out just give up on reviewing this shit, not watch the damn product anymore, and just go and do my own fucking thing on a Wednesday night. I don't need to sit here and watch this shit if I really didn't want to or I wasn't a fan of AEW. I sit here every fucking week covering this shit because I am a fan. I don't get paid for doing these fucking reviews. I don't get shit from this channel. This is a fucking hobby of mine. And I am truly sitting by, watching this company, being a fan and critiquing them as to what they need to do. They need to build every match that you get on this card with a story involved with it. It doesn't have to be the biggest fucking story. It doesn't have to be the greatest story. It just needs a motherfucking story. Like I said, I may not like Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness against FTR, but guess what? It had a fucking story on it. The only reason why it didn't have the importance it needed with a Nigel McGuinness wrestling in an FTR match is because it was on Collision the whole fucking time until the last fucking episode of Dynamite leading into the pay-per-view. That's the only reason why I knew anything about this shit. And a little sprinkle of story from Stokely Hathaway doing his spiel on that shit too. And with FTR and Tony Schiavone. That's the only reason why I fucking know anything about this garbage. If you're gonna make Collision be a place where you build story, which you should, then make it fucking important and make the shows just as good as the way Dynamite should be. If you're not gonna do that, then expect no one to care and don't try to build any story on that show. If your Collision show is just wrestling heavy with no storyline, fine. Keep it as is if that's what you want to do. But Dynamite is the flagship show of AEW where stories need to be built. And if they are not being built on this show weekly, then there is no purpose of AEW being on television. Have your fucking events where you have these big, giant, mega cards, like pay-per-view quality matches, and do that instead, like New Japan Pro Wrestling has done in the past. Or otherwise, get off your fucking ass, get creative, and do what you gotta do. And that's all I gotta say at this time. So you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.